Giving you a voice here, go ahead.
Okay, let me just say that all we need to know is that Steve Bannon himself said that Breitbart was the platform for the alt-right. Mr. Bannon knew very well what the alt-right was, what it stands for, and as everyone has made clear, the alt-right is just a new word for white supremacists and white nationalists. So he said, Bannon said that Breitbart was that platform, and he was the editor. So we can just stop there. But further to the conversation, I want to mention a couple of things about Stephen Miller, who, Brian, you mentioned. He did staff for Jeff Sessions, and I'm in Alabama. He was Jeff Sessions. He was on Jeff Sessions' staff, and he helped him push forward very aggressive anti-immigrant policies. And Steve Miller is from California. From his high school graduation, he has been anti-multiculturalist and had a bent towards white nationalism and white supremacy. We also say that this goes far beyond just what's happening now and what the president says now. I'll remind us all of how he ran his campaign. His chief strategist, when it appeared that he wasn't going to win, was Steve Bannon. They got this coalition together. They started getting the attention and the support of people on the extreme right. He didn't reject them then. He doesn't reject them now. He has them on his staff, and I don't care what he says. He needs to fire those people, as Mr. Painter said. He needs to move into some action. Let me also say that it's disingenuous for him to say, let the country come together, when he's the first president in decades who refused to honor put out a declaration in support of or honoring Ramadan. He didn't honor LGBT History Month. He couldn't even say the word Jew when he came out with a proclamation about Holocaust remembrance. So let's not just solely concentrate on what he said in this particular circumstance. There's already a long history of what he hasn't done. So he needs to do a lot more than just reject this current message out of Charlottesville. He needs to turn the whole game around if he truly means to turn this country around and bring us together. He has a lot to do himself. And lastly, let me say something about Ms. Trump's tweet. I could care less. She was not elected to any office, and if she were taking a stronger stance, she would say something about the rise in anti-Semitism in this country. Those shouts that were made on Friday night at that rally, we will not be replaced. Jews will not be replaced. She didn't say anything. He didn't say anything. This country refuses to talk about our history of white supremacy. We refuse to talk about the rise in anti-Semitism. We refuse to talk about the increase in anti-Muslim and Islamophobia. We have to talk about some things if we want to turn this thing around. It's not just on the president. It's not just on political leadership. It's on each and every individual. Every person that voted in this election needs to send a message that this is not why I elected you, and maybe we can start turning the country around there.
And that's why I want Alicia to weigh in. Certainly, that was some good stuff there, Chris. And I finally want you to weigh in on